At this point, it's rather clear what our goal was with the Weird Route. To break the bounds of Deltarune's game world, chapter structure, and by extension, the prophecy. And of course, who else could be the key to such than Noelle Holiday? Noelle is someone who, very clearly, feels stuck in some way. She's lived the same boring day-to-day. Her room is eternally clad in Christmas memorabilia. Her sister's room is untouched since she vanished. And like, the Christmas thing especially gets me because Noelle's sister is literally named December holiday. Christmas. Sure, the holidays may just like Christmas a bit too much, but maybe the entire house is clad in memorabilia in remembrance of a lost loved one. Noelle herself is, ironically, heavily associated with ice. It's her offensive element, her family is associated with a wintertime holiday. She is frozen in life, unable to move on or not allowed to move on. She has to be, well, Noelle, and do Noelle things that everyone expects of her. She doesn't get that space someone like Susie has, the space to be wild and grow and change, because then she would be unlike Noelle. Hell, even her wristwatch is stuck just before noon, most likely 12:25 p.m. And none of this is even mentioning how Birdley is seemingly the only person she's still close with at Hometown, which we'll get to that later. In the normal route, Noelle finds comfort in Susie, someone shown to be more free and independent than other characters, someone who often disregards our choices and does her own thing. Susie is, by all measures, the opposite of Noelle. She's strong, brave, independent, willing to assert herself and get what she wants. It's no wonder Noelle is drawn to her. She's the only person in her life who's different in that way, who actively changes things in her life. Noelle could be those things too, but to herself, she will always just be Noelle. In the Weird Route, though, Susie is no longer enough. The escape she provides is safe. She can carry Noelle into the lake, but Noelle herself will never feel its cool waters. And even then, Susie will only take her so far. What she wants now, because in part of us, is much, much more. She wants to cross the lake entirely, and all it takes is a single command to give her the strength to. Noelle in a pre-chapter 3 and 4 world was, to be honest, a bit flat. She was nice, she had concrete interests and desires, she was a character, but she was a bit too much like Rousey, worked too well as the straight man, I know, for the wackiness of the Dark Worlds. In retrospect of Chapter 5, however, how much of that was Noelle repressing herself, playing the version of herself she feels she has to be? How much of that is because she has to in order to keep peace with her mother? Chapter 4 is where she first really gets to shine, in an environment where she feels comfortable relaxing, being open enough to talk about her childhood with Susie. Noelle as a character is honestly now a bit hard to pin down, because it's especially clear our favorite deer is in fact not okay, and how much of how she acts as her masking or her actual unfiltered personality is up for debate. I mean, think about how she talks about deaths, always saying she left instead of died or disappeared. And then she says that she wants to run away or she wants to leave Hometown behind, and, well, I don't think you need me to spell it out for you. Honestly, Noelle being severely mentally ill would make a lot of the Weird Route make even more sense. It would make her even more vulnerable to someone like us, encouraging her violent fantasies. Remember that Noelle could always have chosen to not cast Snowgrave or Ice Shock. Disobeying our orders is not solely Susie's domain, after all. The night fight even shows us characters removing an option from the magic menu. If she couldn't do either for weird meta reasons, she could have just left the party. The Weird Route can only proceed, haha, because Noelle is a person who deeply desires the feelings of control and strength it gives her, and is vulnerable enough to seek that feeling out. We were only corrupting her so far as we were exposing the dark parts of who she is, what was already there, boiling under the surface. It was always going to be her who led us down, down, down into the murky, deep waters. This section is where things get tricky. Someone's relationships can be very revealing, but with Kris especially, things are complicated due in large part to us controlling Kris. We don't have all of Deltarune yet, and thus may learn things that change what we think and how we think it. I mean, we thought Birdley was an incel, and he's cool as fuck. Actually, Noelle is very good friends with Birdley. Yeah, he's kind of annoying and a bit egotistical, but as a friend, he cares deeply for Noelle, quickly noticing something's wrong when you fight him on a Weird Route. Or how he immediately, upon learning Susie and Noelle are on a date with Kris third wheeling, wishes her the best of luck. He's also seemingly the only person Noelle is still close to in hometown. Berdly feels, though, ironically, like everything Noelle has grown to hate. He has a routine he follows day to day that he seems comfortable with. He always keeps up his smart kid act. He's a stickler for the rules and doesn't take risks or really act on his own. Queen was just so annoyed by him she couldn't be bothered to actually make him useful till the end of chapter 2. He is everything Noelle thinks she is, feels she has to be, and she hates it. Enough so that with some convincing, well, we know how it goes. Again, I don't think she hates Berdly as a person, I think she hates what he represents to herself, which is conformity. I've already kind of gone over Susie, but to repeat myself, Susie is everything Noelle wishes she was. She is strong, brave, independent, other adjective. Susie is free, but in a safe way. Scary, in a comforting way. Susie's brash, naive, but she would never push boundaries or make Noelle uncomfortable or hurt her. When she's with Susie, she can live vicariously through her. After all, Susie's attitude and positivity are infectious. Susie would and can tell Carol no, but Noelle can't. Very importantly, however, is the simple fact that, well, Susie isn't really in a place mentally to be in a relationship like that. She does seem genuinely interested in Noelle, but that's with the caveat that she is deeply, deeply lonely and desperate for validation, which Noelle will freely give her. Their relationship is probably not going to end well, because one of them is nigh suicidal and the other one is way too lonely to actually be in a healthy relationship. By editing me, put that piece of artwork by Goosely Charms on like Twitter and I think the other one on screen. Kris and Noelle have history. Their families were close, their siblings romantically involved. They're close enough that Noelle immediately clocks something is off with Kris in Chapter 1, and during the Weird Route in Chapter 4 is overjoyed to have the old Kris back, recognizing their deadpan, mumbly voice compared to, well, our voice, or us speaking through Kris, at least. She does, however, have a tendency to call much of their relationship into question. She says Kris was just doing what I made them, which we don't actually know how true that is. It could just be her rationalizing Kris being distant, or a genuine comment on her past behaviors. We do not know for certain, but to be frank, the former is more likely. Either way though, the two are still very close, to the point that they're in sync on the hammer game if you play it with Noelle. Kris's entire issue with Noelle, honestly, is just that they keep up this whole silent protagonist act too much. They don't talk to her, and that's all they really need to, because Noelle wants to talk to Kris. They want to be friends again like that, but Kris won't reach out, and Noelle won't either. So if neither of them will, nothing can change. Des was the most important person in Noelle's life. She showed her scary movies, protected her when Kris's pranks went too far. Des was reliable, always there, until she went missing. We only have ideas about what Des was like. In truth, saying anything concrete other than what we know is hard because, like, we can't talk to her. Still, it's obvious whatever kind of person Des was, it left a massive hole in the Holiday and Dreamer families when she vanished, and it is implied to be related to some nebulous incident with the Dark Lords that led to Asgore's exile from the police. Des was Noelle's world. Without her, she's stuck, unable to stand up for herself, and it's so obvious she still misses her immensely, thinks about her constantly. Her life fell apart when Des went missing. Her and Kris drifted apart as they started focusing on college. Her mother became incredibly strict, and her father is now extremely ill. She had Catti and Berdly for a while, but then Catti drifted away, and now all she has is Berdly. Kris, who's acting nothing like themselves, and Susie, who, well, she is a positive force in Noelle's life. She's too busy with the Dark Lords and the whole saving the world business to actually meaningfully help her outside of just making her feel better. Carol is Noelle's overbearing mother, the one seemingly pressuring her to get good grades, be polite, and do as told. We don't know how long she's been like this, but it's likely been even since before Des went missing, and has only gotten worse with time. She serves as a major catalyst for why Noelle feels the way she does. Her mother strips her of the freedom and autonomy she desperately desires, because despite all her effort to protect her daughter, she is only hurting her more and more as time passes. Noelle's father seems to be one of the few lights she has in her life. stark contrast to her mother with how warm and friendly he is. He is also sick, in the hospital for an unknown reason, and something as simple as church service takes almost all the energy he has for an entire day. Rudy isn't so much a character as he is Chekhov's gun for Noelle at this point, trying to set up some sort of change of character / role for her, give her motivation for things. And he did, when he fell down at the festival. Noelle herself may end up the cause of the roaring, trying desperately to use the power of the Darkwood to heal her sickly father. After all, if Susie lied about Cyber City being a dream, what else was a lie? Alright, we're recording this in post, so sorry for the change of audio quality. The original Catti section was talking about how, they drifted apart after Catti learned about Noelle's crush on Susie. The point I was trying to make is just that, Catti's jealous that, Noelle's like Susie instead of her. I mean, this girl ran through the rain to get pet by this girl. She's down horrendous. Catti's down horrendous. And, she's jealous that Noelle likes Susie, so they've drifted apart, Yeah, I just didn't really say that. Well, also, just look at this shit. Poor baby. In the Weird Route, Noelle is driven to do something that, if it doesn't work, will kill both her and Kris in the span of 4 days. And given how she talks, it's likely she views dying as an acceptable outcome. Noelle is isolated, vulnerable, and desperate for something different, for something in her life to change after years of mind-bending repetition. It's not that she suddenly wants something different in the Weird Route, but rather how she gets what she wants has changed. Susie is no longer enough for her. She wants to escape the confines of hometown entirely, wants to badly enough to risk her and Kris's lives. Noelle has always been this way to some degree, but it's only now that we see it that she lets down the mask enough for us to see it at all. Though whether that's because of Susie or a manic episode depends on the route you take. Yeah, that was it. That was all the video. But this is the first one I made like this. There's actual scripted video I made. I had a lot of fun making this, and I might make more if I feel like it, because I do what I want. It's my channel. Yeah, okay, bye.